Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. If you are new here, hi, my name is Megan Risica and I'm a fashion and lifestyle vlogger. And today I am tie-dyeing. And I'm trying to tie-dye in the 2020 year, not the 1990s. Even though 90s tie-dye was fabulous, I'm trying to do an updated version to tie-dye. This sweatshirt that I have on is from Target and I did not tie-dye it myself, but there is a science to tie-dyeing or dyeing fabrics. Luckily, I got my degree in apparel and textile design, and one of the classes I took was fabric science. So I know a little bit about dyeing fabric, and I'm hoping to share an easy way and kind of a DIY way that you can make your own tie-dye kit and make it really affordable and simple. Everything costs me like $17 and some of the stuff you may have in your home. So stay tuned, let's get to tie-dyeing. All right, everyone, so we are in my kitchen. This is where I have most of my setup going, even though we're going to actually be doing the dyeing process in my shower. I have a newer home. Everything in this house is white, so I am trying to be very careful with how I'm dyeing everything because this can turn into a little bit of a mess. If you've ever tie-dyed before, you know how this goes. But basically, I see a lot of kits online for tie-dyeing that are over $20, and you can do this yourself for much less. Like, everything cost me $17. Now in that $17 range, I had to buy the dye, which I'll show you in a second. I had to buy bottles. So if you have bottles at your house, you can reuse that. I also had to buy rubber bands and gloves. So that's where my $17 price range came from. But if you have stuff around the house, basically besides the dye you want to use, you can probably do this for under, I would say, between $10 and $15. I know rubber bands aren't a big cost, but it's just something extra I had to buy in order to do this. So let me show you what you need to get started. So first, you need a t-shirt, a sweatshirt, some sweatpants, whatever. So I am doing a white sweatshirt. This is the first time I've done this in many years, so I just want to start with that. Now, you should wash your item in the washer to get any other treatments that have been on the fibers. This is a 50-50 blend. That means it is 50% synthetic fiber, which is polyester, and 50% natural fiber, which is cotton. Now, if you're tie-dyeing, keeping a 50-50 blend is really good. You do not want to use a full synthetic fiber or the dye will not take. So that is something to keep in mind while you're looking for your sweatshirts or sweatpants. Make sure it's a 50-50 blend or an all natural blend like cotton, but it does shrink, so keep that in mind as well. So this has already been washed in my washer to get any other fabric treatments that have been on it, and that's how it will absorb those dyes better. So just make sure you have 50-50 blend and white. I mean, if you want your colors to pop, you're gonna wanna use a white item. Next, I have the Rit Rose Quartz dye. Now, with tie-dye, I think this brand has like 36 colors at Joann's, and I believe this cost around $3. So they did have a coupon for it, but you can do order pickup in your town for any color you want. So you can make this bright, light. I'm using the Rit dye. Now there's color recipes online, but I'm going to use this rose quartz that's supposed to be kind of a dusty rose color, but we'll see as I'm mixing it what I decide to choose. Again, this is Rit Dye from Joann's. You can also get it on Amazon too, but it's cheaper at Joann's. I have gloves here because you don't want to dye your skin, you don't want to dye your jewelry. I took my wedding ring off, so make sure you have some gloves. Not pictured are the garbage bags that are upstairs in my bathroom, again, because this whole entire house is white and I'm not ruining anything. I've got my little dye bottles. If you can find hair dyeing bottles that are bigger, I suggest using that. They just work better. These are a little small for how much dye we're gonna use on this shirt. I also have a measuring cup. I have some dish soap, some salt. Now, ideally, I probably shouldn't be using coarse grain pink Himalayan salt, but that's what I have here, and we're in quarantine, and that is what I'm sticking with. I have my rubber bands that I needed to purchase. because I don't own any rubber bands, which is weird. And then I have a glass pitcher. Now, I probably should be using a plastic pitcher from the dollar store, but we are in quarantine, so we're gonna be using my glass pitcher instead. So let's hope that works out. I'm working with what I got here. All right, everyone. So the first step is to dampen your sweatshirt or sweatpants, whatever you are tie dyeing. Also notice I changed my shirt into something darker just in case the dye splashes or something happens. So this is a damp. You want damp, you don't want all the way wet. So the method that I'm going to be doing is one where it's more covered on the sweatshirt. So I'm gonna be using the crinkle method. Now with that, you just crinkle up and hold it. I'm gonna slide this over so you can see better. And I'm going to crinkle up and crinkle up and crinkle. Basically, you're crinkling everything up. And I'm going to take a rubber band. You don't necessarily have to use rubber bands, but I'm not going to be tie-dyeing on my granite countertops today. So I'm just gonna throw some elastic bands on them. So what I'm going to do next is add a 1/4 cup of salt to this mixture before I put the water in. So again, this is 1/4 cup of salt. So next, I know my water's running. I'm going to add water to this glass pitcher, and the water needs to be very hot. That is how the dye absorbs into the sweatshirt. Right, so then I'm also gonna add about a teaspoon, that may have been a little bit more, of dish soap to this mixture. I'm gonna give it a good stir. And I know I shouldn't use coarse grain salt with this, but it really was the best that I could do. So when I'm adding the dye, I don't really have an idea of what color I want this to be, but I want it to be pretty dark, I think, but I'm not gonna be mad if it turns out light either. So this looks really red. So let's see how this looks. So I'm gonna stir that. That looks really red, and I'm gonna test it on a piece of paper towel to see the color. You can use a towel or something else that you have to kind of test this color. So this is looking pretty good to me. I'm gonna add a little bit more dye. You can kind of see it's a very light pink color, so I'm gonna add a little bit more because I like it to be darker. So I've probably used about a half of that bottle right now. So let's give this a stir. Let me test the other side. I also should have gloves on right now, but I left them upstairs in the bathroom. So this looks about right. I think I'm gonna add just a little bit more. All right, I'm stirring this up. So that is done. We are back in my bathroom. You can see I have my tie-dye here. I'm just gonna leave it right there. A pug is joining us, which is not ideal. I also grabbed a bunch of paper towels in case I make a mess, which it's tie-dye, of course I'm gonna make a mess. So what I'm gonna do first is just fill up my dye container with the dye I just mixed. And I did spill some, because of course I did. And we're just gonna start dyeing. You're gonna wanna make sure that you're really saturating all of the pieces. I'm really liking this color. so far. Just make sure that you're saturating all of the pieces. You're probably gonna have to fill this up. Woo! Also, make sure that you get the sides. That's something a lot of people I've noticed when I'm watching them dye. Forget to do the sides, so make sure that you're doing the sides. Obviously, I flipped this over, so I'm now doing the back. So we will see how this turns out. I'm really liking this color. It's a little bit brighter than I thought. It was originally supposed to be kind of like a dusty color, but it's definitely not dusty. And this dye is coming in closer to me, so I'm gonna back up a little bit. All right, so you can tell that this looks pretty bright on camera, but it's actually not that bright in person. I want to open this up to look at it before I let the sweatshirt sit overnight to kind of look at the colors and make sure that everything is the way that I want. I just don't want a lot of white space on this, so that's why I'm going to open it up and look to see how it's processing. So obviously this is still wet. The fabric dye is still processing, but it looks like I didn't need to open it up at all. It looks really good. So again, with these garbage bags, it's really easy. I'm gonna fold this up and then put it in the garbage bag that's below and let it sit overnight. So I recommend letting this sit between 8 and 12 hours. I'm actually probably gonna let mine sit until the morning. So I'm just gonna pick up the garbage bag and plastic bag situation that I have going. I'm just gonna sit it here in my sink overnight, and I will check on it in the morning and update you all. So the longer you let it sit is the darker that the color will be. And some of these colors are gonna lighten too, depending on your synthetic natural blend of fibers. So just keep that in mind while that's sitting there and processing overnight. So the amount that I made, I used almost the entire bottle of that dye, and that would have been enough for a pantsuit and a sweatshirt. With the amount of water I added, I almost used a full pitcher of water, so that just shows you how much dye I have left that unfortunately is going to waste because I wasn't able to get any sweatpants to match my sweatsuit, but maybe I will redo this and try another project later. The next morning, it has been about, I would say, 17 hours. It's 7:30 in the morning and I finished this at 3:30 yesterday. This is still wet. It looks like the dye took pretty well. I'm glad I let it sit overnight. But now I'm going to put this in the washer. I'm going to wash it with mild detergent on medium. So warm water with this old black towel, and I will update you how it turns out. All right, so I just pulled this out of the dryer. This is the result. Let me get a little bit closer in the mirror. This is the color. I am so happy with the way that the tie-dye turned out. Washing it, the color did fade a little bit, but overall I'm really happy with this color. I'm actually going to go into more natural light for you guys so you can see the color a little bit better. It is pink. It does have some brightness to it, but I understand why it's kind of like a rose quartz color because it is a little dusty, but not as dark as I originally thought it was going to be. But I'm really happy with the pattern and how everything turned out. Right, this is a natural light. This is in my office, Here's the color again. I'm gonna move up a little bit closer so you can see the color. I would recommend this color. It is more of a brighter pink, as you can kind of tell, but I have ideas for other tie-dyes that I want to do, so I may make this a series. I wish I had this in a full sweatsuit, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. So again, I just want to say thank you for watching my vlog. I hope you enjoy your tie-dye experience. This was so much fun, and I'm kind of like addicted to tie-dye now, so I kind of want to do a couple more vlogs of me tie-dyeing because this turned out so great and I love the color and I'm just really excited about it. But I will keep you updated with my tie-dye series that I have more ideas for, so I'll keep you up to date with that. Please make sure to hit that subscribe button and comment and like this video. That helps me out so much. I always love to hear from you guys, so please make sure to subscribe, like, and comment, and I will see you guys all next week for more fun. Who knows what we're gonna do next in this quarantine, but it could be more tie-dye.